rap goats, rap soundtracks, and just straight up hip hop. What's good, y'all? Welcome back to Gen X's best hip-hop show on the interwebs with two of your favorite uncles. If you've ever purchased 12 CDs for a penny and then never bought those 3 CDs you were supposed to buy from Columbia House, you are probably in the right place. I'm your man, Chad. That's my man, Big Absoloot over there, the OG of OG of OG, super OG, quadruple OG. Added an OG. There's a new category of OG just for his OG-ness. BA, what's up, man? He's laughing for those of y'all on the podcast. He's choking.
What's going down, family? Everything's good. It's all good in the hood, man.
That's what's going on, y'all. Big Absoloot's in here. We're going to chat with y'all just a little bit about hip-hop. We are going to talk about rap soundtracks. The great ones, what made them great, and why we don't see so many of them anymore, maybe. I don't know. So from down south to Hollywood, we can move over to rap soundtracks. And it's definitely, or at least to me, it feels like a very definite 90s thing. Early 2000s. I know we still have some soundtracks, and some of the ones we're going to talk about are definitely not in the 90s, but it just feels like a very 90s things with mixtapes, and because they were basically compilation albums. And even some of the ones we'll talk about were kind of like mini hip hop.
They were mini movies
very
because of the
hip hop heavy.
Like the soundtrack turned them into a movie.
I mean, they started happening everywhere with Def Jam, Death Row, Loud. Everybody saw the value in them. They saw the videos that you could package with them. Probably my favorite one of those is Streets is Watching. I thought it was just a genius concept to make his videos. We got one of the friend or foes out of it, and I love those. But they did really well with it, man. Like, it was a place for them to do their own soap opera kind of thing with their own personas and characters, and the music was good. I will say, if I talk about soundtracks, like, it's the vibe that went with them during the 90s, because there were tracks that you couldn't get anywhere else on those. And when you have physical copies of things, they were more like baseball cards. Because now, Above the Rim, probably the rap soundtrack that everybody will think about when you think about rap soundtracks, it had the Pour Out a Little Liquor on it from Tupac, and that was the only place you could get that track before it went digital. I mean, now you can get it on it's in your pocket. But when we had hard copies, that was the only place you could get that. And they felt more valuable then, because I couldn't lose that, because then I'd have to go buy another one. And then the Rim soundtrack, it got hard to find in a lot of places. And then you were just without a copy, and somebody would have to dub one for you on their dual cassette deck. What do you think when you think about rap soundtracks, man?
I think about rap soundtracks. I think about the beginning. I mean, we can talk about Wild Style, but I know a lot of these people don't know nothing about Wild Style. But let's talk about Krush Groove. When you brought up Streets, the first thing I thought about was Krush Groove. Because Krush Groove, was it a soundtrack to a movie, or was it a movie to a soundtrack? And because a lot of those songs were real songs, that was the first time you seen that. Run's House became a real song. All You Can Eat by the Fat Boys was a real song. They just flowed with the movie so well. One of the other soundtracks I think about is Menace to Society. It was hard pressed to find another soundtrack that flowed so well with the temperature of the movie. Menace to Society was growing up in the hood. If you talk about Menace to Society, and the first thing you don't think about is Gia, man, you don't get some MC8 and some, I mean, it's just growing up in the hood. And then, of course, everybody's favorite, Boys in the Hood. But for me, I'm going to say a movie that probably the soundtrack wasn't really, most people might not even remember the soundtrack or even songs on it, but Sunset Park. Sunset Park had Hoop All in Your Face. It was, you know what I'm saying, it was one of them soundtracks that, even though it was a New York-based movie, the soundtrack was heavy in Florida-based music. And so Hoop All in Your Face, I will never forget that, because I love that movie. But yeah, man, soundtracks, you got so many breakout artists Like soundtracks was the first time you heard people for the first time. Some people hopped on a soundtrack and you're like, oh, who's this dude? Then next thing you know, who is this girl? And next
Right.
thing you know, they got a career.
Yeah, it was big for a young artist to be able to sneak into the back end of the on track
Yeah.
13, 14 as an extra verse on one. It was big because you would
I
hear
mean,
them and go,
like you brought
"Whoa,
up,
this
yeah, like
I
when you
didn't know
brought
this
up the
person
labels, like
existed."
Loud was good at breaking artists via soundtrack. I won't say a resurgence, but let's say an artist had an album project, maybe it didn't do so well. They were on the shelf a little while, and now they got another project coming out. Get him on the soundtrack. Let's see if we can generate some new buzz. Maybe change the direction of his music or her music or whatever.
And I think part of that is the curation, like what it takes to put it together. Soundtracks have to be very, very well put together. And it's a very hard thing to do because if you got 15 tracks on it, you're working with at least 12 different artists. That's
Correct.
not counting the features. And all of them have a different sound. All of those tracks have a different sound. So the production has to be tight. But the A&R as to who you get to do what and where is so important in that.
You want the soundtrack to flow, but you can just put a lot of stuff on the soundtrack and it works. Like it just goes together.
Like another one that I like from what the late 90s, 90, 98, I think.
Oh,
I got to hook up. The movie with AJ
yeah, man.
and P. Y'all will correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure, but I'm pretty sure Ghetto Vet was
I
on
think
that
so.
one
By Q, yeah, I think so.
from Q.
Yeah.
I'm pretty I know that wasn't where it broke, but I'm pretty sure that one was on there. That's all I need for you to put
Fool
something
like
like Ghetto
you
Vet on a
bet.
track.
Yeah, that's the
That is one of the hardest beats I have ever heard. That is one of the coldest beats that rap has. I don't care what anybody says. Like you say, argue with your mama. That beat is you could do in that beat will just make you a stone cold
you
unfit
know
for
what I
YouTube
loved
word.
about soundtracks though, like the evolution of them. There were some breakthroughs that gave us scores because they weren't hip hop based movies, but they were heavily hip hop influenced. Kill Bill. RZA did his thing on Kill Bill. Even though Spike Lee directed it, he got game. That was not a quote unquote hip hop movie. It was not heavily rooted in hip hop. That was more of a tailored down story. But that score, come on, man.
RZA got so far into his bag on Kill Bill. This thing has to match the scenes. It has to match the visuals, so it adds an even tougher level for it. And man, he amazed me. That soundtrack was brilliant, man. Some of the sounds that he came up with to make those beats, to make that score, I mean, we're not saying anything to say that is an amazing producer, but it was nice to see him transfer it right over to a different venue. Just take it and move it right over. Like it just shows you that that's just
Man,
real skill.
you know, even these types of albums, these type of projects win awards. Clearly, we've had some Oscars come out of soundtracks,
Yeah.
but the genius for me was the Straight Outta Compton soundtrack and score. And the reason why I felt like Dr. Dre
Yeah.
was a genius is because Straight Outta Compton was a biopic, just a rehash of how that worked. So the music already existed. But to go add
Mm-hmm.
13 tracks of new music that still flowed in the movie with the original music. Come on, man.
And the
Yeah,
artist
well,
that
that
did
is true.
most of it helped too.
He did do a lot. And
He
that boy did his thing. That boy
K
did
Dot
his
did his
thing.
thing. Yeah, speaking of being in
Yeah,
your
he
bag,
was.
he was in his bag for that one. It's cheating a little bit to put that soundtrack up against others because that was basically an
They
album.
just went in there, hey, we're gonna
But
do 2 songs. 14 songs later, hey, we're gonna have to call this something.
like Dre, I gotta go home,
We have to
man. I'm
call this
tired,
something.
man. K Dot came in there in the studio like, Dre, I ain't been home in 18 months. And I'm 95% sure I left my front door open.
Yeah, man. Oh, shouts out Belly. You know what I'm saying? Belly was one of them ones.
Yeah,
They
for
added the
real.
reggae tone.
Oh
Belly was
man.
one of them ones.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Here comes the boom.
Yeah, that'll get
Well,
you
that wouldn't
together.
get you right. The man, what they did, that
And Belly,
opening scene in that movie, that was one of the best opening scenes, man, with an absolute classic song. But what Hype did to it, man,
Yo,
was
the camera
absolutely
angles,
amazing.
look. I was talking about being in your bag as an artist.
The lighting,
It was in
right?
his
The lighting
bag.
had them with the contacts in.
Fade in, the fade out stuff.
Nah, that
He
was
was in
a
his
that.
bag.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the slow motion.
That was
Yeah, he
very
did his thing on
Scorsese,
that.
Scorsese-esque.
Yeah, it's a sidebar. He did not get enough credit for what he did in that movie. I know they had to rush it and he didn't get to finish it the way he wanted. And there's a little bit of controversy around the making of it, like there always is with movies. But man, I did not get enough credit for that.
Knowledge
It was
bone.
really
What
good. There are a couple of kind of like sad points to get to as to why we don't see him anymore. I mean, one is that everything's digital, and that's both good and bad. Like, I love that I've got 80,000 songs right here. It's good in a way and it's bad in a way. I love that I have it and I hate that I have it in a sense, because we didn't used to do that. We used to have CDs. We had to listen to the whole CD. We had to listen to every song on a track. And I felt like we got more out of artists than we do now. Like I felt like you got to know an artist's craft better because you were forced to listen to, because I paid $19 for this album. So I'm going to listen to all of these songs, and I've only got so many albums. Even if I got 12 of those CD books, I've only got so many albums, and I got to listen to
You had
them.
to have an appreciate for the lulls. Now that can't happen. If an artist released 10 songs on Spotify, Apple Music, or whatever, if 3 of them are hitting and 7 of them ain't, nobody's ever gonna listen to them. You'll never even know the names of them. Like,
yeah, because it's too easy to go, all right, this song sucks, I'm gonna see what Cardi B's up to.
When you were looking at listening to the tapes and you listen to CDs and LPs, for those of us who still like pure music, real, you know what I'm saying, reel to reels
8
and
tracks.
whatnot, you were like, okay, these 2 songs are dope. Then you have kind of 2 songs that maybe wasn't so dope, and then you're like, man, I bet that 5th song can be dope. So then you get to the 5th song, but you ride with the workings of the project a lot easier now.
Number 12.
Track 12 is always a banger. You just got to get to it.
Always a dope track.
You got to always get to it.
Track 12.
Track 7 is always something that you didn't expect. Track 12 is one of them joints
that's the weird area.
Never hit the radio ever.
The middle of it's like playing football. That's in the middle of the field. They start trying plays. You know, we got a little bit of room. We're going to try some songs in here, because the middle of the album will get a little bit weird. You're like, where the hell did this sound come from? Is that a baby crying?
And if you didn't have one of them songs, you had a skit. You had some 33 seconds, 40-second skit right around 7, 8 to get the transition back.
Something like Doggy Style, where I had to listen to somebody go into the bathroom.
Doctor's office on the Chronic.
That was unnecessary. Eminem's talking to his lawyer.
Skits. Him and Paul, them was golden skits.
We need to do it. We got to do a show on skits. But that last one was my favorite one, though. That was probably the thing I liked the most on his last album, was where he had the nightmare and he called Paul, and Paul was like, and just hung up on him. Yeah, but there's another thing I put in the notes that I thought about with the streaming and the soundtracks, is that the streaming revenue keeps people from doing a lot of collaboration.
Divide up your 3.4 penny.
Yeah, because everybody has to split. The streams are split, and everybody has to split them, and nobody gets anything. So there's no incentive to do a great song with somebody else, because nobody's going to get anything really out of that.
Right? I mean, not great, because some people got robbed in their 360 deals, but you had, you had the producer,
if you got a good deal,
you had the executive producer credit, you had the artist credit, and everybody knew what their percent was. If we were splitting $1, and I had a producer, an executive producer, a rapper, and a beat maker. Now, sometimes the executive producer was the producer and the artist, so he got 75 cents, whatever it is. But it was still broken down in fair pieces. Now, I get 16% of a penny per every 9th stream that somebody listened to longer than 38 seconds. But anything over a minute, now I get 26% of it. It's crazy. The math don't be mathing.
Yeah, it's like Snoop said at that conference that I think that video went viral there for a while when they asked him about the streaming. It was like, because when we had hard copies, I knew that this is a $20 CD. If I had 10%, I know I get $2 for every CD. I sell 1 million copies. That's $2 million.
It's quick.
I do that math in my head. It is really easy. I know exactly what I got. All right, let me switch it up. This time, you got something for me. I don't want to hear any lies. So do you have something that is absolutely true to talk about this week?
Argue with your mom. Today's truth take is simply, we're going to take it back to the 90s when jazz met hip hop in a cosmic groove. I'm talking about none other than the Digable Planets. That Brooklyn trio made up of Ishmael Butterfly Butler, Marianne Ladybug Mecca, and of course Craig Doodlebug Earth. They crafted a sound that was smoother than the cool breeze on vinyl. Their debut, Reaching, dropped in 1993, flipping dusty jazz samples into poetry, my friend, poetry, when we first got spoken word over jazz beats. And of course, the classic Rebirth of the Slick just had them be cool like that. It earned a Grammy in 1994 for the best rap performance by a duo or group. Then came the political album, darker, lot more social, Blowout Cone. Power vibes over live instrumental. It didn't hit the charts like Reaching did, but it debuted and it took a while to catch on. But later, people went back and in retrospect, it was a masterpiece because it was way ahead of its time. And I mean way ahead. The group split up in the 90s. Butterfly reinvented himself and got with Shabazz places. Ladybug Mecca and Doodlebug kind of went their own ways too. But just like every good thing, every now and then, they get back together to grace the stage and reunite and bring back that same cosmic laid-back energy to the stage. Digable Planets didn't just rap over jazz beats. They embodied jazz. The flow, the message, the vibe. Pure art and activism in sync. In this galaxy we call hip-hop, they will always be cool like that. It's your boy B.A.
As soon as you said it, all I heard was da-da-da-da. It just started bouncing from side to side. Cool like that?
Man, I listened to the album all day today, both of them. And man, Nickel Bag of Funk will still be one of them ones. It will still be one of them ones to me.
I've decided from this show that if there's funk involved in hip hop, I'm there. I'm there for all the funk. P-funk, G-funk, regular funk, diet funk. I don't care. If it's funk, I'll be there for it. Diet funk is that's the mainstream. If you want to, sell a lot of records, you got to do diet funk.
That's that tab.
Because, funk tells the truth.
It does.
Funk tells the truth. Funk painted the White House black. You know what I'm saying?
Or it tore the roof off
hard.
Baby.
That was a great party, dog. Shame about the fire. All right, let me switch over and go to some breaking rap news from a week ago.
Breaking news.
BA, Havoc had an interview in the Financial Times, and I wanted to mention it. It's not really breaking news or anything, but I wanted to mention it because I like one of the quotes that I saw in there from him. He talks about just his life and his career at age 51. We are getting old.
Havoc is 51.
Right? But he said, quote, hip-hop is a contact sport. True. It's not for the faint-hearted. Right, and I appreciated that. And that's definitely going to come from somebody from our generation because it definitely was for them. It's not as much now, but I get why he's saying it. He's talking to some of those younger rappers that we've talked about before that aren't quite as hard as they need to be when it comes to hearing people not like you.
The skin is soft, real sharp and extra around here. You don't like my music. Make some better music.
Yeah, you are streaming millions of songs. Why do you care about people who don't? Yeah, right. And if a lot of people aren't streaming it, do better. There's nothing wrong with finding another job.
To my daughter, sucks to suck.
Havoc did. Everybody can't be a champion. There aren't that many crowns. There's usually only one big trophy at a tournament. But I also like that interview because something else that Havoc said, that rappers from the 90s deserve long-term respect like rock stars get. And they shouldn't be sidelined and simply say that their sound is out of style. I do too. I think a lot of fans started to do that in rap, and I don't really think that was fair. It made it feel like rap was a temporary thing. Like, oh, that's out of style now. Like, no, that's just classic now. That we've moved on from it, but that doesn't mean that there was anything wrong with it. In fact, my generation still thinks it's better. We think that what's wrong is that it's not still here. Because if you don't think I could deal with another Lost Boys album that sounds like it came out of 1998, you are out of your damn mind.
I'm glad you put it that way too. The Lost Boys album.
Oh, no.
But if you think I can't deal with another Lost Boys album that sounds like it came from 98, you're out your rabbit ass, man.
that had Freaky Tar on it.
Come on, man.
To the
Come
hook.
on now. They don't know that. They're not ready for that.
In other news, Bun B has announced he's prepping a new project for November 7th
15
called Way
days.
Mo
I'm ready.
Trill.
15 days.
Always
15
down
days.
for some trill.
15
You
days.
sound like Rain Man over there. You ready for that one?
Ready
He's
for it.
rocking back and
15
forth.
days.
About 15 days, about 2 weeks, yeah.
Days. Ready for it.
You know I'm getting old. I
know.
just referenced Rain Man.
My brother's name
I was
Babbitt.
young for that
Charlie
movie.
Babbitt.
There's another quote that's something that I just like. Nas did an interview with Complex, and during that interview, Complex magazine asked him if he wanted to do the Super Bowl or if he'd be interested in performing at the Super Bowl. And I really like this answer because we've talked about like Nas and how much he's matured, and at least how much I think I like him even more now than I did. Actually, I wasn't a huge fan of him, through the
Right.
90s. It's just wasn't my thing. But I'm starting to like him more now because I like him more as a person. And it's for things like this. He said, that's some rock star shit. Nah, I can't say I don't want to, but I don't. Why would I do that? Leave it to professionals. Leave it to the pros. I'm a pro at what I do.
That's grown
And
man
I thought
talk.
that's grown man talk. Those
Yeah, I
things
like
are
to be
way
in my
over the
lane.
top.
I'm
And he said,
I'm
that's
good.
not what I do.
I'll sit in a chair with a microphone and just do what I do all day. I'm not got a problem with that.
Now, would I love to see Nas perform some of his best political songs on the NFL stage? Oh, hell yeah. I got Kendrick doing that last time, so I could still live with I'm
One
still
mic,
good.
could you just see the Super Bowl completely dark, one spotlight, and the stage lit up as a microphone, just
Ooh.
one, and it just comes down and he just does one mic like that.
And then just hear that all I need is one mic.
That's it.
Yeah. Of course, also a problem with that is he would have to be contracted by Jay-Z.
We know how that
to
worked
do
out
it.
first. Never mind.
This is some interesting news. Y'all take this for what it's worth, for better or worse. Rolling Stone and Vibe magazines are merging due to issues and layoffs at Vibe magazine. The long-running magazine centering on rap and R&B coverage will merge with Rolling Stone in a deal announced 2 weeks ago. Rolling Stone CEO Julian Holguin said that as part of the move, Rolling Stone will, quote, level up its hip-hop and R&B coverage. I'm not a huge fan of Rolling Stone, and I actually haven't read any magazine in probably 8 years. I don't know what I feel like. As a former journalist, just thinking about rap journalism, I don't know how much I like to see those two guys merge. I mean, it doesn't sound like Vibe had a choice.
Usually
had
how
to do
most mergers
something.
happen. Somebody didn't have a choice.
Yeah. Yes. Somebody is not
I
happy
remember
about
when I
doing
worked
this.
for AT&T, and we would go at all of these direct TV centers, and they'd be like, "Man, how do you feel about the merger?" So what merger? AT&T and DirecTV, we merging together. Ooh. I said a merger. A merger is a 50-50 partnership. It's like, yeah, AT&T wrote y'all a check. Ain't no merger. That's why they name go first. Ain't no merger. Y'all got
A merger is two big companies. You got swallowed
Yep.
up. Big Bang, say Lil Bang.
right.
Paul Wall
That's why
told
y'all
y'all
are
that.
now AT&T DirecTV. Like y'all got boom.
Finally, Cool G Rap and Graham Puba were the honorees at the Paid in Full Foundation's 2025 Hip Hop Grandmaster Awards celebration. The third annual fundraising gala took place on Saturday, October 18th, and also included 2 inaugural award presentations, the Quincy Jones Award given to funk icon George Clinton, and a Contributor Award presented to pioneers Cool Rock Ski of the Fat Boys and Jaleel
Yes,
Hutchins
sir.
of Houdini.
First of all, shouts out to all the honorees, right? But if you don't know about the Paid in Full Foundation, if you don't know about the Grandmaster Award celebration, in the words of Cat Williams, I don't know what you're doing with your life. I really don't. Look, hip hop. Look, these are things y'all have to know about. I understand it's not on TikTok, and it's going to require more than 60.
It's longer than
60 to
31
75
seconds.
seconds of your time for you to get into it. As much of our history and culture that is trying to be deleted, like some of these people are worth you knowing. They name things after these people that you walk around with on a daily basis. You should probably know who they are. And if they're being honored, if they're being celebrated in any way, you should be on the bandwagon celebrating them because of what they did. You were able to do what you do. Yeah, you got the flag now. You're holding the torch. Great. But you didn't make it. Somebody passed it to you.
That's it. That's part of what we're talking about. I mean, that's part of the
Yeah.
reason we do this is just to memorialize that. But you brought up a good point. Like, man, we're in a scary time right now. There is a non-zero chance that someone could want to erase hip hop history along with other
Right.
things, but that's a different show. It's sad to say that. Yeah, you're right, man. There's power
Like we talk,
in knowing
we
history.
old, whatever. And if you don't know why we speak so passionately about basically the 7-year span from 88 to 95, maybe, just maybe, you should go back and look at what hip hop was from 88 to 95. How many different lanes and
Yeah,
avenues
and from
that
the
it came
lens of
out,
that
from
time,
political rap to jazz. You had conscious rap, you had gangster rap, you had pro-black, you had fun, you had party, you had bass music, you had the style. Literally in that moment,
you had the
from that
neighborhood
moment, you
celebrations.
had all 4 regions, and I say regions lightly, coast-wise, north, south, east, and west, contributed to hip-hop in a major way in that time frame. And it's why it could only be named the golden era. It's not because the inception was in the 70s, but that golden era. And a lot of people like to move goalposts. A lot of people like to start the golden era about 94-ish. You cannot talk hip hop without talking 88. You just can't. It has to.
It has to start in 88.
Don't get me wrong, 86 wasn't bad either, but it has to start in 88. Has to.
The year from 88 to 96, I'll add a year to what you did just so I can get everything that happened in 96 in there. But from 88 to 96 was when hip hop moved from everybody thinking it was going to be a fad to going, okay, this is sticking. This is a real genre and it's going to be here.
In that time frame,
when they paved the road that
we
these
had
young folks are
more
riding on right now.
multi-platinum, multi-millionaire, young African Americans than ever before off of one art, and they all did it in different ways. It wasn't just carbon copy after carbon copy. It wasn't, oh, OPP is selling? Let's make 400 million versions of OPP.
Oh, all right, man. Now it's time to switch it up to my favorite game to finish it off, and that is
book it or cook it.
BA, book it or cook it. The Chronic 2001 hits harder than the Chronic.
Book it. Name me 10 albums that hit harder than the Chronic. Now, before you start splitting hairs with, such and such rap better than this and such and such.
Pitchfork just named about 51 of them.
Yeah,
I think they had him at like 52.
But what I'm saying is the way the album was put together, sonically, how it blended, how it flowed, what it gave you and who it introduced you to. Give me 10 albums better than that. Challenge you for that. But the Chronic was one of one. I mean, Chronic 2001 was cool. The Chronic itself, that originally 92 joint, was one of one.
All right, book it or cook it. Jay-Z's run from 98 to 03 is the most dominant 5-6 year stretch ever in national hip-hop.
They book it, but Wayne, Plmp, Yee, Nelly, as individual artists, had some really good 5-year run. Ja Rule had a really good 5-year run. But when you use, I go with the term, I don't think anybody's 5-year run was at the top of their game when it happened. I don't believe Wayne was at the top of his game when it happened. I believe it escalated to where his game was. Kanye, same way. M's trajectory probably wasn't as higher as the rest of them because when that 5-year run happened, he was already on a different tier. But Jay's got Volume 2, and from that run got crazy. The Black Album, the Blueprint, that run got...
Did that end with Rock La For Me? I was trying to see what.
And I know you hated
that
that
year
album,
that came
I
out.
love that album.
That was 2000. So it didn't end with that. It was in the middle of that. I think he had the strongest one on. That's why I said national hip hop scene. Like, if you wanted to say the South, you could carve that out in a lot of different ways. But I don't think he was at his peak when he went into it. So I don't think he was at Volume 2. I don't think he was at his peak yet. But he was when he came out of it. I think by 2003 he had hit his peak. I don't think he has dropped in it. I just think he's moved into being a businessman.
I tell people all the time, think about from In My Lifetime Volume 2 to the blackout. Let's just, everything that happened in between there and there. He had damn near mastered how you make an album by that point.
He had.
Yeah.
And
his albums were so complete projects that it was insane. No wasted skits, no fluff, no. And when I say no fluff, I'm not saying that every bar he delivered was next level, quotable, whatever. Song 3 was meant to be song 3. It was never meant to be 14 or 12. It was song 3, and it fit between 2 and 4 the way it was supposed to.
That song couldn't be in another place. There are no songs that could be in other places on his songs, and that is, there are not a lot of people who can do that. All right, book it or cook it. Rakim changed rap more than any other MC.
If we're talking just delivery, pen, and lyrics, then yes, I booked that. Because even though Kane and the R were on a very similar trajectory, they both were well aware of each other, what each other could do. And I felt like we got the best versions of each of them because of that. But when that vein starts to open, you don't have, and I'm not saying for whatever reason, you have a lot of people saying that they like BDK, they listen to BDK, they were fans of BDK, but that vein that Rakim opened up with so many artists who his lyrical style was the blueprint for what was considered good rap, like, period, old and new. Now, I'm not how to make an album, not how to make a hook, not how to make a hit, none of that. How you put together a 16, he was the architect of that for a lot of artists. So in that regard, I say book it.
Book it or cook it. The South's producer legacy, Mannie, Organized Noize, Plmp C, Mike Dean, etc., should be ranked as top tier.
Only because there's this guy named Primo, this other guy named The Alchemist that still exists. However, if you're talking about region for region, that list that you just named, and I'll add Crit, and I'll add Banter, and I'm going to add a name that most people don't talk about from the South, but I will. I'll even throw T-Pain into that mix from Southern producers. And Lil Jon.
Lil Jon.
When you look at the South region, from the bulk of it, you did not have a run from a region that had so many different avenues to get you a hit. The West, you had Quick, you had Dre, then you started to get a couple other producers out of there. Of course, everybody knows the East Coast, the Neptunes, Timbaland, but you didn't have a Beats by the Pound, a Mannie Fresh. You didn't have an Organized Noize. You didn't have that many people associated with that many crews that could just get you a hit. Just a flat out platinum hit. That's crazy.
Book it or cook it. The Source 5 mic rating system did more damage to rap than the Grammys.
If we're looking at from the retro perspective, they should have never went back and retro rated. It is what it is. And at the time I heard it, it was 3.5 mics. Now I listened to it 52 other times and it could have been 5 mics. Not that day. They got my sandwich wrong. I had to work OT. My girl left me. I got a new boss. I didn't get a promotion that I wanted. I was stuck rating the albums and I was supposed to be charging the department. Whatever it was, it got you 3.25, got you 3.25. That's what it was. Because what happened was we depended on the rating system so much to tell us if something was good. We actually stopped artists.
We stopped
because
looking.
the Source said it was a 2 mic album, right? I'm going to use this guy as an example. MC Breed, Ain't No Future in You Frontin' came out, fire. Gotta Get Mine, him and Pop, fire. They destroyed the album. Everyday Ho, it had some dope ass tracks on there, but they were killing it. One, because they were coastal bias for sure. And then they started to really open up a little bit and start giving the South and the Midwest and the DMV and even the West artists a fair shot at getting a higher rating. But in the beginning, they were very East Coast biased, and it was killing. It was killing artists. It was killing.
All right. That is Book It or Cook It. And that is the show. That's all for us, man. I really appreciate y'all hanging out with us here in the barbershop at Grown Man Bars, the best Gen X hip hop show that is on the interwebs. You can check my MySpace page and find out more information about the show, or you can hit me up at my AOL account.
Him and Tom still hanging in there. Him and Tom. Yo, shout out Cool Rock Ski, Fat Boy. Shout out Jaleel Hutchins, Houdini, man. Shout out.
Yeah, shout out to y'all, man. Thanks for hanging out, and we will catch y'all next week. Grown Man Bars, I'm Chad. That's BA. Be good, y'all.
Kick ass!